Remember, here's the intro. For 28 years, Caroline A. Henderson and her husband have been farming in Oklahoma. For the past 5 years, her household has been one of the many that have fought the devastating effects of an unprecedented drought and then of the resulting dust storms. Her letters, written to a friend in Maryland, open a vivid and pathetic chapter of American agriculture. They paint a picture of dire poverty, desiccated soil, and long days with no sunshine. Eva, Oklahoma, June 30th, 1935. Dear Evelyn. So remember, we're annotating for details about the Dust Bowl or information that reveals what it was like to live during the Dust Bowl. And then you want to annotate whether this is new information or different information that you learn because this is a primary source. Dear Evelyn, your continued interest in our effort to hang on during this time of strife brings us hope and gratitude. Our recent transition from rain-soaked eastern Kansas with its green pastures, beautiful foliage, abundance of flowers, and a promise of generous harvest to now the dust-covered desolation of Oklahoma was a difficult change for one short day's travel. Eleanor has laid aside the medical books for a time, wearing our shade hats with handkerchiefs tied over our faces and Vaseline in our nostrils. We have been trying to secure our home from the wind-blown dust, which penetrates wherever air can go. It is an almost hopeless task, for there is rarely a day when at some time the dust clouds do not roll over. Visibility approaches zero and everything is covered again with silt-like deposit, which may vary in depth from small film to actual ripples on the kitchen floor. I keep oiled cloths on the windowsills and between the upper and lower sashes. They help just a little to collect the dust. Some people here seal the windows with paper strips, but no method is fully effective. We just have to do our best to avoid inhaling the irritating dust. Early in May, with no more grass or even weeds on our 640 acres than there are on your kitchen floor, and even the few remnants of dried grasses from last year cut off and blown away, we decided, like most of our neighbors, to ship our cattle to grass in the central part of the state, hoping they would make some money there. We sent 27 head, retaining near the heifers coming fresh this spring. The shipping charge on our part of the carload was $46. Pasture cost us $7 for a cow and calf for the season and $5 for a yearling. An expensive venture this was, but worth the risk, for we know they would not have made profit here. Whether this venture brings profit or loss depends on whether the cattle make gains during the summer and whether those gains can be sold for a reasonable price. We farmers here in the United States might as well recognize that we are a minority group, and President Roosevelt's interests are not in the agriculture of our small region. With the current state of our country, his last concern is the agriculture in eastern Oklahoma. A shame because it could turn things around, I do believe. Naturally, you must wonder why we stay here when the conditions are so extremely disheartening. Why not pick up and leave as many others have done? It is a fair question, but a hard one to answer. I cannot act or feel or think as if the experiences of our 27 years of life together had never been. And they are all bound up with the little corner to which we have given our continued and united efforts. My husband and I, we put 27 years of our lives into this land. To just leave voluntarily, to break all these closely knit ties for the sake of a possibly greater comfort elsewhere, seems like defaulting on our task. It feels like the abandonment of a place we should not abandon. Eventually, we may have to leave. We can't hold out indefinitely without some return from the land, some source of income, however small. But I think I can never go unless we are truly left with no choice. We aren't quite there yet. There's still hope. So, exit ticket, part A. Which of the following best identifies a similarity and a difference, identifies a similarity between the presentation of information in the letter and the information revealed out of the dust? A, they both present information through inner dialogue. B, they both reveal details about the conflict. C, they are both true stories. D, they both take place during the Dust Bowl. Part B. Which two of the following details best supports your answer to Part A? A, dust-covered desolation of Oklahoma. The conditions are so extremely disheartening. I was coming home through a howling dust storm. My lowered face was scrubbed raw by dirt and wind. I can never go unless we are truly left with no choice. We aren't quite there yet. There's still hope. For 28 years, Mrs. Caroline A. Henderson and her husband have been farming in Oklahoma. I can't look at her. It pains me too much to see what I have done. Which of the following best identifies the difference between the presentation of information in the letter and the information revealed in Out of the Dust. So this one's the difference now. A, the letter reveals a conflict while Out of the Dust tells a story. B, the letter is all nonfiction factual information, while Out of the Dust does not reflect any true historical information. C, the letter gives information from one point in time, while Out of the Dust tracks details about the setting throughout a plot. The letter talks about prices of cattle, and Out of the Dust does not.